My husband's best friend told me he was in love with me at my own dinner table, and my husband just sat there. My husband David and I have been married 9 years. We met in grad school and built everything together: the house, the careers, the life. His best friend Marco has been around since college. He was the best man at our wedding. He's at every barbecue, every holiday, every birthday. I never questioned it. About 6 months ago, Marco's fiance left him 2 weeks before their wedding. Venue paid for, invitations sent, all of it. She told him she didn't feel it anymore and walked out. David was gutted for him. He started inviting Marco over more, checking on him constantly, bringing him into everything so he wouldn't spiral. I supported it completely. Marco needed people, but something shifted. Marco started showing up unannounced. He'd walk in without knocking, open our fridge like he lived there. If David was running late from work, Marco would stay and talk to me alone. At first, it was normal. Then the comments started. He told me David didn't appreciate how well I kept the house. He said I was the reason their friend group was jealous of David. Once he looked at me across the kitchen and said, "David doesn't know what he has." I would. I laughed it off and said, "You're spiraling. Eat something." I didn't tell David because Marco was fragile, and I thought I was reading into it. Last Saturday, I hosted dinner. Just the 3 of us. Homemade pasta, good wine, candles on the table. David was relaxed for the first time in weeks, and I loved seeing him like that. We were laughing about an old road trip story when Marco set his glass down hard enough to stop the conversation. He looked at me, not David, and said, "I need to say something I should have said years ago." David smiled like he expected a toast. Marco said, "I'm in love with your wife. I've been in love with her since the night I met her, and I'm done pretending." The room went silent. I looked at David. He didn't move, didn't speak. He just stared at his plate like the words hadn't landed yet. I waited 5 seconds, 10, 15, nothing. Marco kept going. He said, "She deserves someone who sees her. You leave her alone all the time. You don't even notice what you have." I said, "Marco, stop." He didn't. He said, "Tell me you haven't felt it too." My hands went cold. I said, "I have never felt anything for you, ever." He flinched like I'd hit him. Then he looked at David again and said, "You're not even going to fight for her?" David finally looked up, and what he said broke something in me. He said, "Maybe he's right. Maybe I don't deserve you." Not anger, not defense, surrender. Marco stood up like he'd won. I slammed my hand on the table and said, "Sit down." Marco sat. I looked at my husband and said, "You don't get to hand me to someone. I'm not a thing you lose because you feel guilty." David's eyes filled. Marco tried to speak, and I pointed at the door and said, "Get out of my house. Don't come to the next barbecue. Don't text. Don't show up." He left without a word. David and I sat at that table until midnight. He cried and told me he'd felt like he was failing me for months and that Marco's words hit the wound he'd been hiding. I told him the answer to feeling like you're not enough is never to let another man speak for your wife. We're in couples therapy now. Marco has texted David twice. David hasn't opened either one, but sometimes I catch him staring at his phone like he's mourning someone, and I don't know if I'm angry at Marco for saying it or at David for almost believing it. Was my husband wrong for not defending me?